Friends, after a long time, I just want to make a video of on the subclassification because in English, I think there is a lot of domination of voices who are already dominant among the SC castes. SC castes, so they give a lot of views, they give a lot of interviews and have meetings. So this is my point actually. What is our stand? See, actually, what is caste? For example, first we have to relook caste. See, caste is what we argue is caste system. We call it a caste system. In caste system, it's a Hindu hierarchical system, we would argue. So, when you say Hindu hierarchical system, it means that everybody is in hierarchical order. So, that is what we have been arguing. And then mostly we discuss caste like annihilation of text also. We speak that it is for the BCs. So caste has to be annihilated from there. So we were always having in a hierarchical order, which is Brahmin at the top and the Vaishya, Shudra like that. Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya like that. Actually, that is not actually. That's what my research argument is. So my research argument is caste is not a step by step a ladder. No, it is not. So my finding in my research is caste is a notion. It's not my finding. It's an Ambedkar's finding, and Ambedkar did speak about it, and I'm elaborating his idea. Caste is a notion. So for an example, whether caste can be eradicated, Ambedkar believed. Didn't Ambedkar believe that caste can? Ambedkar never said that caste cannot be annihilated. I think among the intellectuals, until then and now, I don't find anybody in India who's at the stature of Ambedkar's research on caste. So he first tried to change the people. He failed. And then he wrote a book about annihilation of caste. They didn't even allow him to deliver that lecture. Then he believed that there is nothing can be done. We have to leave this religion. So that is where he comes out of it. So caste is an ideology. So when caste is an ideology, that ideology has to be countered. So, and that ideology does not have physic. That's very important. It does not have a particular physic. Every ideology, because there is only one ideology of Hinduism, rooted to Hinduism. You cannot completely say that now it is a secular category. So that notion does not have a physically particularly fixed body. There are multiple bodies to that. So it's an amalgam. But that is not the case with race. See, every time I find people even in abroad and everybody try to say race and caste are similar. And they say that they say caste is worse than the race. See, that is, you are doing injustice for the racism itself, not racism, the black movement itself. You copy everything from the blacks. It's fine. Black Panther, Dalit Panther, everything is fine. We have the solidarity. But you can never ever say that we are more oppressed than you. See, that is because the blacks' history is something nobody can even imagine what kind of a problem they were facing. So that is something I will never ever, that's what whenever I try to use slave, quote unquote, I will never use that word after studying about the blacks, the protest and the movement and the sufferings and the life, everything. So therefore, please do not compare one. So second thing is, how do you study race and caste? See, race is something, it's a bodily, an ideology which has a body, a particular body, one versus the other, oppressor and the oppressed. But in caste, there is no oppressor and oppressed. That is multiple bodies changes the spaces. But ideology is the same. So there is no two ideology. There is one ideology of Brahmins and there is the ideology of a Dalit. No, there is no one single ideology. Because everybody validates that ideology. So ideology which says caste is something has an oppressor and the oppressed, most importantly purity and pollution. You might say this is a Louis Dumont's argument, but let me say that might be an argument, but let us revisit his argument. Or at least what I argued, that if you say that is similar to that, let us revisit. See, so caste is something, one ideology, multiple bodies. So you cannot fix one. Second thing is Ambedkar himself believed caste can be eradicated because caste is rooted to Hinduism. So therefore like that. So what we all did is, instead of seeing these multiple bodies, you also fixed that Dalits have a separate body and the Brahmins have a separate body. That is where you do a mistake of comparing with the blacks. So when you have two, when you equate blacks and say that these two bodies are there, then you become oppressed and there is an oppressor. So therefore you believe that the oppressed need to read Annihilation of Caste. Ambedkar wrote Annihilation of Caste, Ambedkar believed that change of the dominant people coming forward and supporting the untouchables, they would change the positions or the society would change. But what happened in reality is, that time they did not change. But now Dalits became, all of them took Ambedkar's one stand of delivering this lecture in a caste Hindus area. So now we comfortably throw the book to the caste Hindus rather than looking into us. The simple reason is we believe there is only one oppressor and then the oppressed. So we are all oppressed. We did not think caste has a multiple bodies. Like the Brahmin has a body, Vaishya, Kshatriya, Shudra, and among the Shudras there are many. And there is an ideology which says that purity pollution for everyone, including Chakliyas, including the sanitation worker, would say sanitation worker is lowly to them. Among the Valmikis, for example, I'm not talking about Valmikis in Tamil Nadu, the Chakliyas would say that I'm better Chakliya than the sanitation worker. Sanitation Chakliya would say that that work is so good for me, but still I will not associate to that work, because that is an ideology which says, constructs, an ideology has been constructed that it is a very bad job. So we agree to that. So we all inbuilt the sanitation, the Brahminical ideology. So it does not have religion to it in India. So that is where Christianity also adopted that ideology, because it's not an ideology of religion. It is not an ideology of the way we so-called religious ideology. It's a way of life. So it's a culture. So that culture which we adopted is what problem. And very interestingly, the subclassification issue, you have to see, this is twists the argument of the anti-caste debate itself, what is there in the country. So for example, now you see Beam Army, which talks about oppression against oppression, they go and beat up Valmikis like brutally. There is no any comparison to their beating and the beating of lynching of others. So they become the dominant because they believe that they have the right. What the caste Hindus believe, they also have the right. So in that case, I believe that is a very, very these incidents. And for example, when you say heterogeneity, you no need to go to Tamil Nadu to see what kind of an heterogeneity is there among the SC caste. Now you will see. Now what is happening is, yes, that is what happening. Publicly, Beam Army of Chamars are beating up the Valmikis, which shows the heterogeneity. And now this subclassification debate will go forward and it will show how much heterogeneity is there publicly. So that heterogeneity is not about we are all different. No, it shows about how the casteism is there rampant among the SCs. See, there is one logic which I fail to understand from this all BSP and Beam Army and others. You ask reservation in Supreme Court. You say Supreme Court needs to give reservation. Why do you ask reservation first of all? You ask because you are not represented there, or there is discrimination that you are not being able to move to that area. Yes, same thing we are asking in SC, ST categories. You have this double-edged argument that one level you agree for, you need demand for super and private reservation, and also you not class reservation, caste. You ask for Not class reservation, you ask for caste, you are asking for caste. And you ask reservation in Supreme Court, you ask for private sector, where you say that there is discrimination, you are not allowed to enter into the private sector. So it's dominant and they don't allow us. So you make sure that there is reservation, they have to take. Similarly, we are saying in SC reservation, we are not able to contest, or we are not able to come into the SC fold, academical fold. I was a postdoctorate and I was not given further opportunities because I come from a Valmiki community. So now I'm I'm just saying that because there are stories many like this whose life has been spoiled by the same SC professors and teachers, and it must have happened in other areas also. And one collector told me, he said that I'm choosing different state because that state, that particular state where I am born, that is dominated by different civil servants, SC civil servants. So therefore subclassification argument is something which we have to look into that argument. And people, I would say that people should not get diverted and become emotional at this stance. I think people should patiently listen to all these arguments and bring that in academical way, and do your studies well, and studies and writing papers, and that would be the last, that would be the first and the last thing to help in your future. So I'll meet in some other video.